in God creating us as an expression of himself, we are a reflection of God. When you look in the mirror, that person is still you, but that person is not you. The whole idea of blasphemy is such a thin line. When you're getting people like Kanye saying Jesus, when you're getting people like Jay-Z saying, I'm Jehovah, it's a hard concept to grasp, or it's a hard concept to accept, just because I don't know if you're saying you are God or you are the God that he created.
When I saw you, like, was that a date or
crazy?
When you're at
Crazy.
Yeah, it was. Like, was that fine though? Like, yeah. So when I saw you there, we saw each other. Yeah.
I didn't know you were gonna bring that up or not. But that was
my favorite thing is just listening to girls talk to me, like,
especially about something they love,
something they love, or like sharing a story with me, and then they're passionate about it. I could sit there all day and just
I love me a goal-driven woman, man. Like, a girl that just like is telling you about her like dreams and like her aspirations. It's something that's within me as well. Just obviously growing up with African parents and like seeing where my mom is. Like I've grown up around a very strong woman in my mother who sacrificed so much. So it's like when I'm sitting in front of a woman and she's telling me like, oh, she wants to be a doctor, or she wants to be a lawyer, or she wants to be an engineer, and she's telling you about all her plans. And it's actually, like he said, it's not you're just saying it like all blasé. Like you're actually like getting it 100%, and you can tell the difference. When someone's just bluffing and saying it, and someone that actually has a plan to get to where they want to get to. I love it. The question of the day is, what's the cringiest thing you've done for a girl / a girl has like caused you to do?
In the good or bad way?
Bad way.
In the bad way?
Yeah, bad way. I can go first.
Get exposed.
Like, obviously this was when I was younger.
2 days ago?
No, this was when I was like 17. Like, there was this girl that like I really liked, but like low key, like she wasn't feeling me like that. Like,
you are now listening to the BlackerTheBerry, the sweeter the juice.
well, let's record, I bet.
What was that? Your name now. You just say your name. What the hell? I got to try. So DX, and then you say I'm sure.
This thing, you're like, you want the best of 3 worlds. Like
You're scared. Now I understand why the girls are running away. Because all this time I've been thinking girls are crazy. Now it makes sense. Keyshawn.
So I've just started that, and it's going to be a product, something that you take, and it's taken a lot of research because I've started like testing, because there's like 9 ingredients in it, and I'm trying to get like the formula right, but I realize it's going to be a slow process, but I'm enjoying it, and it's all natural stuff, so it's cool.
Yeah, that's cool, That's cool for sure.
So this product that you're working on, is it like under wraps kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I don't want to speak on it too much.
No, I feel that. I feel that.
Just because it's not released, and I feel like I don't know enough fully about it. I'm the only one taking it right now.
Okay.
There's a couple other like competitors that are in the market, but it's something you take, and it's good for long-term memory. It helps reduce the onset of dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's.
Okay.
Some of the ingredients have been thought to decrease the risk of cancer. And it helps with short-term memory, anxiety, stress, depression, sleep, and it's all natural ingredients. So that's why I'm into it. It's like,
what did you take in school?
I'm taking business right now. I was doing sciences for like 3 years.
Okay.
And I was like,
that's what I was like. I'm like, brother, what you're trying to do is nothing business related.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't even like, truly, it doesn't matter. Like, obviously I want to have like the best quality product, but like I'm looking at, like one of these competitors, they sell, so it's monthly, like you buy a month's worth of product, and they're selling it like 300, 400 a month.
Jeez.
And it's 30 pills or 60 pills. Yeah. And I'm looking at it, and it's just like pretty basic stuff. And I'm like, if they can sell that,
for that
why
price?
can't I do something that's better than that and sell it to more people? I don't think it needs to be that expensive. But,
yeah.
You know, it's all about scaling and marketing at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
What made you
I was chilling at a friend's house and I was chilling fat. I was chilling fat, and he was house sitting, and they had little microdose pills, and it was unopened. I'm looking at it, and then I was like, "When's if I could sell something that wasn't anything psychoactive in it?" And then I got thinking like the next day, that night, and I was like, I think I could really do something. So I was looking at products like around like similar things, and I was like, I think I could do this. And I would really like I'm big into health and like mental wellness, physical wellness. So I'm like, I feel like this would be something good to do. So that's how I got into it.
It's like a passion project, kind of?
Passion? Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. You feel like you've always been like innovative? Like you've always kind of had that like entrepreneurial, I don't want to say entrepreneurial, but yeah, just innovative. Like you just kind of always like trying to like like create something, or like you feel like you've always been like that? Or?
I've always had like, I remember telling someone I'm really good at having like the ideas in my head, but I haven't been the greatest in the past at like manifesting into reality. And so this is something that I'd really like to like work on and really see turn into a physical thing that I can stand behind and be proud of. So and the great thing about it is if I'm selling it, it's like I could be anywhere selling this as long as I have like the system set in place. Because I'm looking to move around a lot, be in a lot of places, having a lot of experiences, and being in one spot for me right now isn't what I want to be doing, or even maybe in the next 10 years. So I think it's the perfect system. So I'm gonna take off.
Sounded like some groundbreaking, groundbreaking product,
bro. Before you know, we're looking at the next Elon Musk, right? No, man. Anyways, let's introduce the show. I'm your host, DX.
Straight up in the cut, you know what it is.
Got a special guest today. This one's Winnipeg's finest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Cieran. Go to the U of M, play basketball, do a bit of modeling, own a business, and I'm all for the experience. So thanks for having me on.
Lovely. What were we talking about earlier? Was it the whole Usher...
Yeah, the fanned out behavior.
Yeah. Before like, that, anyways, I was just I don't think I can fan out anymore. Like when I was younger, but not so much anymore. Just because, like, realizing that these people are human, and also having like some people around me get to a level where they're amongst these people, it emphasizes it a lot more. So I'm like, these people are literally human, you know. And obviously with like watching interviews and stuff like that, you start to realize like they don't like fans per se. Like if you're coming to them and just like acting in a fan way, most people don't like it.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. With celebrities, so, like they'll appease a few people, but then after that's like, bro, even themselves. Exactly. So I can understand. But like, what do you think? What do you think causes that psychological effect from a celebrity and like a quote unquote regular person, to where when somebody that isn't obviously like a celebrity sees a celebrity and they're like, oh my god, like what do you think causes that psychological effect for people to like go to concerts and see a celebrity and lose their mind and lose their shit? Like what do you think is the reason behind that? Like
I think people just like, a lot of people in the world idolize people like very really big and pretend it's like your favorite artist and you live, sleep, die by them. A lot of people go crazy about that, and it's not everyone, but I think that's the biggest thing. It's like you put them on that pedestal, and then when they're right in your face, you don't know how to react really, you know. So, that's what I think. But
it's part of it. I'll also say it's the art of whatever they're creating. You know, so I was talking to Keisha about this the other day. Like the whole creation aspect of all of us is essentially what, like, it reiterates that fact that we're godlike. So when, you know, our fellow human being starts, you know, going into that God part of themselves, creating stuff, it gives you a certain level of not deity, but it gives you a certain level of separation from the normal person. The normal person doesn't really create; they just work, right, or support. But once you get, delve into that creation part of yourself, it separates you. It's the same with like people that create art. There's a certain skill or talent that you have that incites a certain emotion within you that you can't even fathom. Hence why you then project it by either screaming, shouting, or idolizing them, because you're realizing how separate they are from you, right?
Do you think there's like two different, so if we have like a small artist here that could be putting out better work, and then we have like the biggest artist, you think there's a separation apart from like the fans that changes like their whole personality and how they project themselves, or you know what I'm saying?
Essentially, are you saying like
if we look
is
at
there
someone,
a difference between someone that's bigger
and
someone that's a little bit
like
smaller?
if you look at like someone like Drake, I'd say he carries himself a lot differently than a smaller artist.
Yeah.
So what do you think it is that like puts him like
it's the
just fame, or?
It's the realization of that is that God element. Like, let's say the smaller artist might have just realized like 70% of their capabilities, and then you have someone like Drake who is 100% in his God element, 100% in that thing that makes him special, unique as a human being. He knows what to do in order to be there, because in order for him to get there, he had to access a certain level of that God element, right? So that's really the only separation. And then what takes most people to get there is to continue believing, because like it's the same with the negative talk. Like, negative talk is always there until you completely silence them. People like Drake, Hove, Kanye, Kim Kardashian, like even big comedians, Kevin Hart, all these people that are operating at a high level in whatever they're doing, Elon Musk, they are in their God element, and they are 100% in there. Hence why they're doing things no one else can do, right? Whereas like someone that's just starting off is just realizing, but they might have like a slight lack of confidence here, and then they'll hesitate to do certain things, you know, because you see even with fighters as well. Fighting is the best example of this. If you hesitate for one moment, you're fucked.
You're done.
Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Whereas you're seeing someone like Floyd at the age of 18, before he's fought anyone, he's saying I'm the best ever. He completely believes that. He's been in his God element longer than a lot of these people. The moment he sets them off guard and they lack a slight confidence, maybe he throws a punch where it's like it humanizes you, that's where they've lost. Before the bell's even rung, that's where they've lost. Whereas he's always composed because he believes in that God element of himself, and he believes he's the best ever. He's solid in that belief. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that'll be the difference. But then you can see the fan behavior. You can see the similarities between the fan behavior of a smaller artist and a bigger artist. It just increases the more that artist believes in themselves. Right.
So that's how you access it, you're saying? Like, accessing your God element is just starting with belief?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it is.
It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you said that, that you mentioned that, because that is kind of like a cool perspective. And I feel like it also ties into something I wanted to bring up. I think I actually put in our notes, in like our BlackerTheBerry notes, about like, if you even like look at it, obviously like we revere, you're talking about like reverence and like creation. Like, if you look at it, the people that are talked about in like history books, in schools, are people that invented things, right?
Yeah.
Who invented, I don't know, who invented cars, who invented the light bulb, right? Those are the people that are talked about all the time.
Exactly.
Who change history. But I think it definitely ties into like believing in yourself, kind of like what you're saying. And like, even if you talk about like religion, you talk about Christianity, you know, you're talking about being made in God's image, right? And I just feel like it's definitely a message that people need to hear about, just like how like people don't know how much power they actually have.
Exactly.
Right? Like look at like obviously there's examples, like you said, you're looking at people like Drake, you're looking at people like Kevin Hart, like who are fully in their like purpose. You know what I mean? But people are so caught up within themselves that they don't realize how much they can actually do in this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like everyone has it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's kind of sad, but not everyone will get like that opportunity just because they don't realize it. But at the end of the day, it's just the power of belief, I believe.
100%. It starts with that for sure.
What makes the 1% isn't their talent or abilities. it's their belief, because we're all able to do what they're able to do. It's just these people just believe themselves a lot more than the rest of the 99, right? So, I mean, even with the whole idea of the God, we're created in the image of God. There was a podcast I was listening to, and it was like there was a guest on it that he's like one of these like not spiritual, like Dr. Sebi kind of guys, we'll put it that way. And he was explaining that whole, like, us being in the image of God. So when God created us, in order for us to function on this earth, he had to make us in a vessel that works on this earth. So that vessel is our human flesh. In order for us to hold things, we need this
Physical
form
yeah.
in order to hold things. In order for us to walk and move around on this earth, we need this form, this legs and limbs to move around on this earth. But before that, we are a spirit, right? So then he now goes into an explanation of, in God creating us as an expression of himself, we are a reflection of God. When you look in the mirror, that person is still you, but that person is not you. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that reflection, we have to remember that's why, like, the whole idea of blasphemy is such a thin line. When you're getting people like Kanye saying Jesus, when you're getting people like Jay-Z saying, you know, I'm Jehovah, it's a hard concept to grasp, or it's a hard concept to accept, just because I don't know if you're saying you are God or you are
An extension of.
You're him, like you are the God that he created. Do you get what I'm saying? I think Keisha mentioned that she was just like, when a duck gives birth, like, they give birth to a duck. They don't give birth to anything else.
Yeah. I know.
But at the end of the day, that duck is not the duck that gave birth.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's just a hard element to get your head around.
Yeah.
But it's the best way to explain that whole imagery and that expression of creation.
Yeah.
But it's deep, man.
Yeah.
It's deep.
Bro, man, it's crazy. Like, you can there's so much you can, like, bro, life is just connected. It's like, we literally talk about this shit almost every other episode, but it's just true, because it's just like, bro, like, life is connected in so many ways. Like, even tying to this whole belief thing, like, one of my friends, shout out David, by the way, young nigga, making a lot of money, and it just started with him believing. Like, I remember I was on FaceTime with this guy, right? And he's, I think, 2 years younger than me. He's incredibly successful for his age. It's insane. He's doing he's in IT, right? He's in cybersecurity, right? He hasn't even finished his 4-year degree for school.
Crazy.
Right? He's making a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? And I remember I was on FaceTime with this guy, and he was like, yeah, like, he was just telling me about his experience and everything. And he was like, oh, I have this certificate exam coming up. And we were just talking on the phone, and he was like, we were talking about it, and he was talking about how, like, it's a very expensive test. He was like, I'm passing it. Straight up. He was like, I'm passing that exam. Literally, like, and it wasn't the fact that, from my perspective, listening to him, I was like, he's already passed it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's already there. He was like, I'm passing. Like, he manifested passing the exam, and the next day he's like, yo, I passed the exam. So in my mind, I'm like, this shit is crazy. Like, to have that kind of mentality and mindset in life, it goes such a long way, right? And like you said, it ties back, it goes back to believing in yourself. You get what I'm saying? So, like, for him, he was just telling me, oh, like, I'm gonna pass. But, like, from my perspective, listening to him, he said it with so much, like, confidence. He was like, I'm passing. Next day, he passed with flying colors. I'm like, this shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like listening to him, I was like, you have to apply this kind of shit in life if you want to get to where you want to get. You get what I'm saying? You have to apply it. It's so important.
Especially if you're trying to get far.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to get far, and like I said, like, you can't go where you don't plan to go.
For sure.
If you have a vision of where you're going, like, you know what the place looks like, you know the route there. You might be at the beginning, but because you've already planned out your route, you're gonna get there. And, like, manifestation is something that I'm starting to, like, understand. Because before, back in the days when you're hearing manifestation, you're thinking all these like zodiac girls.
Yeah.
I'm just manifesting my life.
Yeah, me too.
Nah, that's what put me off, to be honest.
What it is very true.
All right, guys, before we get back to the show, we just want to ask you guys to subscribe, like, and share. We're on the way to 1K, and we'd appreciate if you guys did that for us. Let's get back to the show.
Yeah. So I do this thing every morning, every night. It's just a simple like gratitude journal, and it's like,
bro, I do
5 minutes.
I just started that.
Bro, it's actually great. I've been doing it for like a year and a half, and I think it's so. For those that don't know what it is, it's you start off in the morning and you just write 3 things that you're grateful for. When you first start, it's probably gonna be like, oh, I'm grateful for my family or my friends. But I found as I'm doing it more and more, I really sit there for more than 5 minutes and I'm thinking, I'm writing a lot more than just the lines.
Yeah.
And I found myself being more grateful, but eventually you get to this point where it's the affirmations, and that's what I found has really kind of made me a lot more content with who I am. And it kind of pushes me to be who I want to be, because I'll write things, if I know I don't have something, I might write like, I am, pretend, super happy with who I am. I am I have high self-confidence or something. And even just writing that, you start to believe it once you put a pen to paper. And I found just over like the year and a half, I think looking back, if I could look back at myself, I think I've grown so much just from that. And I think that is a form of manifestation, just simple affirmations, whether it's I'm open to new experience, my heart is filled with love, anything like that. I just think it's great. And I'd suggest anyone that's thought about it, just start doing it, even if it seems like a chore, bro.
I literally started it last week. Like, I literally
started
it. Well, to be honest, I think for me it's a routine thing, and it's also like it's helping me with this self-belief. The reason I started it was I was reading a book, and like for me, it sounds all fictional, but then the only reason it sounds fictional is because I'm thinking with my human mind. Like with my fleshly mind, this sounds so fictional. It doesn't sound real. And by real, I'm saying it doesn't sound like something I can see. But a lot of these things that I want to achieve, I can't see.
Right.
So why am I now going to think, in what I can see? All that aside, I was reading the book and she essentially said that what she does is 3 gratitudes, 3 intentions, and 3 priorities. So that's like what you want to do for the day. And then I started there, and it's just, for me now, it's just trying to get into like a mechanism of just doing it every morning. So I'm still at that beginning stage. I literally just started last week.
I'm excited for you. I think you'll enjoy it.
Because I believe in what it does. I know there's a lot of power in it. So for me, it's just walking in that line and just keep on going until it clicks.
Right. And not only is it, I think it's great, but it also just like you said with the routine, it really establishes, like, for me, if I don't do it in the morning, things just seem kind of off, even before bed. So you'll do it, I put my phone away and everything, and I think that really just like my brain gets triggered. Like after I write it, I'm ready to sleep. Yeah. And when I don't do it, I find the next day just doesn't seem as good, because at the end of my night, you write down like highlights of your night, things that you're grateful for, something that you learned, and I feel like writing about those things kind of brings itself into within the dream. And I think having like a positive mindset before bed just kind of translates on to like the next day. Absolutely. And it's kind of like a snowball effect. Yeah. And it just keeps on getting better and better.
100%.
So
100%. Bro, we talk about it all the time. The mind, the power of the mind.
Yeah.
It all comes from there. Like, and it was one thing I was thinking of recently, like, it even ties into what he's saying, just how behavioral your mind is. Yeah. Right? To the point where now, like he said, because he's been doing something for so long, once he doesn't do it, it feels off, right? Yeah. Goes back to routine, goes back to like structure. But it's just so crazy how, like, literally, like, there's been times where like I'd be on my phone and I'm just watching some random shit right before bed, and maybe 5 out of 10 times I'm probably gonna end up dreaming about what I just watched. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll think about it the next day. Right? Now imagine using that, knowing that, and actually applying it to things that you want to do, right? Like he said, affirmations before bed, being grateful, talking about what you want to do the next day, applying that every single day, there's going to be a change, because your brain is literally what is it called?
Sponge.
You literally whatever you give it, it's going to consume, it's going to absorb it. You get what I'm saying? So it's just crazy, man. The power of the mind. Another thing that I think about when I think about these kind of things is going back to the whole like how powerful we are as a human being. Like we said, like when you try and humanize these people we even revere, you think about it, they are humans. The person who created light bulbs was another human being. The person that started Apple, the person that started Microsoft, they're all humans just like us.
They all have operating a very high frequency.
That's it. They all have
very high frequency.
They all have a brain. They all have limbs like us. Like, they're no different than us. They're human beings just like us. They were born the exact same way.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So when you think about it like that, you see all these people doing these things. It just reminds you that, man.
Yeah,
you can do it too.
You can, you can do it too, man.
I think a lot of people also forget we're habitual creatures as well.
Yeah.
So although our body has its own desires, what you teach it will do.
1000%.
You know, so it's like if you give into your desires, your body will do your desires. If you teach it to be disciplined, it will have to. It's like a dog. You put it in a cage, it will stay in the cage, You know, so it's hard. It's hard, man. It's hard, but then it's just like there's a level at which you get to where, for example, with the journaling as well, the first how many days are hard, but there's a wall that you break that it now just becomes like mechanic.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like any time I start something, I don't start it based on my outcome. I start it based on I'm trying to get to that wall. Once I break that wall, then I don't need to think about it anymore. Yeah. You know. So even like my morning routine, I remember the day I started it felt like I was doing so much.
What's the routine?
So essentially, like, because it's all second nature now, I'm trying to think through it. So I wake up, so it's through the shower. So after I shower, as soon as I get out, I brush my teeth. After I brush my teeth, I put Vaseline on my lips. Then I put beard oil. Then I put another set of oils. Then I put my face oils, face cream. Then do my hair, and then do the rest of my body. And it's like I don't even think while I'm doing all of this. Like it's to a point where I can now multitask. I can do something else while all of that. While my brain is just going through that mechanic, I could then start something new. It's powerful. Yeah. Because at the beginning, I'm thinking, shit, like this is like too much to be doing. Like,
it's working. You got the glow. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like damn, it's a lot. But then once you break that wall, you don't really think about it anymore. Yeah. Like, now it's second nature. Yeah. You know.
I think and I mentioned it before, but I think my personal experience that really like taught me how powerful your mind is and how behavioral it is for me personally was going to the gym. Right. I remember when I first started, this was 3 months ago. I've like over the past like maybe 2 years, I'd gone like on and off, but I would always like start and stop. So I remember I went through something personal, and like I recorded myself. And I told myself, I was like, I want to be better. Like, I'm going to be better. And like, I saw the video on my phone to always remind myself. But when I started going this time, I had conviction. You know what I mean? And like he said, there was that wall. When I first started, I was like, bro, like
you're sore every day.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to the gym. I was like, it felt like a chore to go to the gym, but now it's almost like innate, right? So it's like, when I don't go now, kind of like what you were saying about your affirmation, same thing. It feels weird when I don't go. And obviously I've seen so much progress. A change in my physique. My mental health is obviously better. My skin's better. Like there's so much benefit that has come from that routine. But it started with breaking that wall, right? Like you said. So I think for me, it obviously, and another thing is like it teaches you lessons, right? Like discipline, for example. So it's crazy, man. Like I said, your mind is literally everything. It all stems from here, from the head.
Yeah.
So.
Nah, it's crazy what people are doing, man. Like, that's why it's important to have big dreams, because if you have a massive dream, your achievements are going to be huge regardless.
Yeah.
Because you're traveling so far to reach that massive dream. You look back and you're like, okay, shit, I've achieved quite a lot. You know, so like what I'm learning now is just not to be afraid to dream, because there's sometimes where I'm like, shit, bro, what you want to do?
Man, the worst is when people try to shit on your dreams. And I hate those type of people.
But I don't care about those people anymore. I think
you gotta cut those people out. If you're one of those people,
my own enemy is myself, man. Like,
agreed.
What other people say, I brush it off. I can't be bothered to hear. But it's like when the moment my mind says something negative, it's now like this huge battle. Like a battle I was not even ready for. Like I wake up one morning, I'm in a good mood, and then negative talk just whispers small, and then the rest of the day I'm fighting. My mind is just going back and forth. No, it's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely. I think even when you want to like do things, like new things, right? When you're talking about like, once again, talking about the mind, talking about it being behavioral, it's like, I think that's also part of the reason why there is that wall, because your brain obviously works as like a safety mechanism as well, right? So when you're trying to do something new that it's once again not used to, it's like no, like we don't want to do this. Like this is not, you know what I'm saying? This is not something you're even comfortable doing because you haven't tried it before. You have to want it bad enough. You have to push yourself to like get past that wall, and then on the other side of that wall is where all the benefits come in. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's kind of like that too. It's on that, like we were obviously talking about, like how obviously your brain is behavioral in that sense, but in the other sense too, where it's like when it's not used to doing things, it doesn't want you to do them, right? Until you.
Yeah, you have to teach it.
Yeah, your body likes what's comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's the hardest thing.
Yeah,
breaking out of that.
Yeah, man. Comfort is a killer, man. I can attest to that for sure. It's I definitely agree with you. I think, and that's why, like, even with like my when I was telling you about like what I want to, like the message I want to push with my like the soft rebrand for my brand, my clothing brand, was that message, because like it resonates with me so much. It's just like bro, fighting yourself, like you're literally so powerful, right? But it all stems from your mind. But in that same way, like your mind can literally consume you, like in negative ways. You know what I mean? So the war against yourself, right, is kind of that. Like that phrase just stuck in my head. It's true. It really is. Like you're literally your worst enemy, man. Like, and it's just I love. We were talking about David Goggins the other episode. I love listening to him because he's so blunt.
Yeah,
he's like
he doesn't shit. This guy's on some next level stuff. He's like bench pressing like 225, running 20 miles. Nah, but
he's like
crazy.
There's one specific episode of him talking, and he was like, essentially what he was saying, he's like, the most important like conversation you have is with yourself, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, it's so true. There's nobody stopping you in this world but you.
He says a lot of like
crazy shit.
Oh my god!
Because I read theatrics.
Yeah,
his point is clear though,
100%.
Very clear. And because his voice is so distinct, you can't avoid it.
It's like
you know, if you're listening to like Morgan Freeman, you can gloss over it because you might just sleep off. But you can't sleep and listen to David Goggins. It's not possible. Now, I read both his books, and it was Tarek that actually put me on both his books. And for me, I like that aggression. I liked feeling uncomfortable. Like it's weird. I do and I don't, right? But for me, I like that fight. I've always liked that fight of like, anytime something is feeling strange to me, if I'm thinking of it as like, okay, cool, I want to go through the motions and try and find, when I'm being blasé about it, I find I don't really do much. But when it's a thing of fight or flight, like you have to do this. Like if someone says, for example, like starting this whole content for real estate and stuff like that, for me, I'm like, I don't know what to do, bro. Like I'm just thinking to myself, I literally don't know what to do. I've been here drafting different ideas. Then my cousin's husband texted me, he was like, yo, have you started? Just the blunt question. I said no. I was now giving excuses, and I was now realizing he didn't reply. That in itself made me go.
Silence,
yeah, I just went. I did like 2 videos. I just started because for me, it's like when I fall into that whole like soft like puppy love, it doesn't work on me. Like I just get complacent. Whereas like when it's harsh, bro, I stand up. I'm active, bro. I'm active.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about. It kind of branches off what you're saying, but like, I think probably one of the most important lessons I learned from my dad is like, and obviously I think it's tough because we live in a society where there's so much distractions, but he was like, we literally overcomplicate life for ourselves sometimes, right? And if you look back at, I mean, obviously naturally, I'm sure they would have loved to have some of the accessibility that they have now, because obviously they sacrificed for us to be in the position we are in.
Yeah.
But life was, in a way, a lot simpler for them. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's why you can kind of see the mentality they have when it comes to working hard and being successful and getting where they want to be in life, is because it was a lot more linear, I feel like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That like you have to work
straight up
to make sure you have a roof over your head.
Simple.
Whereas like in the day and age that we live in, you have to work, but you have all these options. Which one do you want to do?
That's the thing, though. It's like, I think back then, in a sense, it was more so like, okay, if you go to school, you can get this job, you'll be well off. But now it's just like the paradox of all of these
choice.
options.
We really talk about this last episode.
That's the thing. It's
speak, man. The paradox of choice. Like you can actually ask him the same question.
So much shit.
The same question. Ask him the same question. I can't remember the question you asked about the paradox of choice.
Last episode.
Yeah.
I was just talking about like when it comes to dating, like between men and women, and how like from a guy's perspective, obviously how like there's a lot of girls like in our age range where they have this, because of like social media, they have this mentality where it's like, oh, like if this shit ends, fuck this guy, I'm gonna go on a date tomorrow, or I'm gonna fuck with the new guy literally the next day, because they can, right? I was just kind of like talking about the paradox of choice, just in that sense where like so much shit has been lost in translation because of our iPhones pretty much, and social media, and everyone just like, oh, it's like I have so many options, I can do this, I can just move on. There's so much value in things, I feel like me personally has been lost because of it, right? So I just felt like I was just talking about like in the dating scene, it's just kind of tough because like a lot of girls do think like that, like, you know, it's like, oh, like, oh, the next guy's taller, he has more money, he has nicer teeth, he's an NBA player, I don't know, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I feel like being a guy, like, it's obviously tough that a lot of girls have that mentality. I don't like that. But.
I mean, bad guys have it as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I said, from a guy's perspective, I'm not saying it's only girls, right? I'm not pushing that narrative. I was just saying, like, from our lens as guys, like being on the negative end of that paradox is kind of tough. So what do you think about that?
I don't know. I think it depends on the girl, man. I know a lot of girls that just get heartbroken after they break up and they go curl up in the bed and like they get their girlfriends over. But I do think like all the choice that's there is just, it makes it easier for both of us. It's funny. I was talking to a friend like 3 days ago, and she was telling me about this like taxi cab theory or something with guys. And and so it's saying supposedly when like a guy is ready for a relationship, it's the first girl that he sees, he'll be ready to settle down with her. Supposedly, I don't know if I agreed with that, but she was saying it's like if he's ready and in that position, first thing that comes, whoever it is, he's ready. And when she said that, I was like, what? I had to think about it for a second, but I don't know. Like, what do you think?
I think it's there's a big difference between someone that's not getting much and then someone that has the options. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're in a position where you're now ready for a relationship and either you've messed up all your choices by being such a shit guy when you weren't ready for a relationship, then it's like the first girl that says she's ready for a relationship, I'm jumping in that because I don't have much choice. Then obviously you have the ones that are not desirable that fall in that trap, and then you have the guys where they're decent guys, they've lived their whole life single just because they've chosen not to date, and then now they're ready to date. Now you can sit down and assess your options, you know. And it's not a thing of like I'm gonna use every option. It's a thing of I need to see who's best match for me. I think that even with like when it comes to what was it again? Like us displaying that we have options. A lot of people mistake options for like actually using and abusing those options.
Yeah.
So when, for example, most guys will say I have options, and then a girl takes it in a bad way, it's mostly because our fellow men have been using and abusing every single option.
I mean, you shouldn't be saying that to the girl, like, I have options. Like, that's gonna...
Sometimes you need to set them straight. Sometimes you
just let her know.
Yeah, because there's sometimes where, like,
you're causing shit, bro. You're causing shit.
When a girl is acting up as if you're the only one here.
Wow.
So you just remind them.
You would know, right? You would know, right? You would know, right?
You just have to remind them, yo.
You're speaking from personal experience. Look, but no, you were saying it. It's like
allegedly.
You were saying when we were talking about this last time. You're like, if you're the top guy, this is not a thing,
yeah.
right?
If you're the top guy,
so
then you know,
like you guys
being being choosing the first girl that comes is not a thing.
So do you find it? Have you found it easy to find like? Do you have a girlfriend?
No. I'm extremely single, happily
single, happy.
Yeah, happily single.
Why are you laughing?
no.
What was your question? Was it in line?
Like, how do you find it? Like, are you dating? Or
oh yeah. I'm
so
like,
like, what's like your interaction with these girls? Like,
tell the people.
Like, have you been enjoying the dating process, or is it?
Yeah, I'm very picky.
Okay.
So
what sets you off?
That helps.
What's a no?
What's a no?
Yeah.
If you're rude,
I
don't talk to you. If you're pompous, I don't talk to you. It's just simple things. Like, I look at you as a human being first. I think that's what a lot of guys miss out. Like, if you see a girl that's really good looking,
you're finished.
It's the same thing with celebrities. You're not seeing them as a human being. You're seeing them as, this is a pretty girl.
Yeah.
Almost like I can't get her.
Yeah.
So you start to idolize her.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, one thing that's helped me get over that is that I have a lot of friends that are pretty. So they're human beings. You know, we all treat each other like human beings. So when I see a pretty girl, how are you as a human being? You're a nice person. If not, I don't even want to chase you. I don't want to try and pursue. I don't want anything to do with you. Because if, let's say, I look past all the rubbish you do, I get there, I'm not going to be upset at who when you piss me off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Most people aren't even accountable enough to be upset at themselves for going that far. They start projecting onto the girl, and then that's where we build this toxic environment that we're in. You know, but who am I? Who am I? No, man.
What about you though? As a top guy, you know what I'm saying? As a bachelor.
As a bachelor?
As a top bachelor.
I'm very single right now. I'm just doing my thing. Honestly, I'm focused on myself right now.
What does that mean? Because I feel like that's
I find
a phrase just used.
When I'm out in the dating process, not that I'm like solely like single, but if I'm dating a lot, I find myself really, really absorbed into like giving my energy to these girls.
Yeah,
and it distracts me, man.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
I'll be at home and I could be like doing something productive, and I'm like, okay, I could just go hang out with this person, but I'm not in the streets, bro. I've just been doing me. Just been doing me. Yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's the woman can definitely take your focus away, right? So it's all about, you know, yeah. I mean, I would know. I mean, but from like my friends, you know, like from somebody who has a lot of experience with women, like Dog said.
This is the same guy. I'm trying to remember where we were. We were somewhere, and we were just standing. This girl was breaking her neck just to look at this guy, and him, even knowing, he's just like, "You seen this girl?"
Yeah.
Don't listen. That never happened. That literally never happened. That never happened.
Do you like the attention?
I mean, who doesn't like attention? I think, yeah. I mean, it's nice. Obviously, humble beginnings, of course. Humble beginnings. You know what I'm saying? It's nice, but I think obviously you know you get to an age where it's like you have to now start being a lot more. You need to be able to discern who's who, and it kind of ties into what he's saying, right? About like the pretty privilege thing is where a lot of guys get caught, and I've been there as well. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've been caught in that. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like you have to like once you start like having certain priorities and like for example with something like this, I literally told him, I said, this is why there's lessons and everything, right? It even ties into this conversation about women. This is something that I'm investing my time and energy into long term, right? Say in the next 5 to 10 years, when this is huge, right? When we have millions of subscribers, we're making a shit ton of money. Just like there's girls now, there's gonna be girls then, right? And just like now, where I have to discern who is who, even when it's small, then I'm also gonna have to discern who's who because exactly there's gonna be a lot. I'm gonna have a lot more access, right, to women, and I'm gonna have to be able to pick and choose who I allow into my space. It's very important. You get what I'm saying? So obviously, attention is nice. Obviously, I feel like you get used to it at some point, but then. Like he said, stop. Stop. But like he said, I think what's important is like you said, like actually looking at these girls as human beings instead of just looking at them 100%. As sex symbols. Obviously, yes, they're attractive, but you have to be able to actually like gauge. Like, I mean, you have to be able to actually. Do they have good energy? Do they have good personalities? That's what's actually important. Because like you look at all these athletes, bro. This is how they get caught up, right? And they say it too, like the devil comes to you when you're at your highest. But it's true. Look at Zion. Look at like there's so many like athletes that get caught by these women and then they have kids with them and they're defaming their name and you know what I'm saying. So it's like for me, like I'm trying to. I tell docs this all the time. I said all this shit that we're working towards, it starts now. It starts when we're small. All these lessons we're learning, where if I want to get to where I want to get to, it starts with what I'm doing now. It starts with my routine. It starts with how even when it comes to women, how am I able to handle and discern who is who, because like I said, once it scales upwards, it's only going to be everything is going to be times 10, right? So there's going to be more women, but that also means there's going to be a lot of women that are trying to you feel me, fuck shit up.
I have a question for you guys. Would you rather find the person like pretend like
now?
Now?
Yes, because do you know how important like this is the thing, right? A lot of people are caught up in this like independent lifestyle just because we have a lot more access to a lot more money nowadays. You forget how powerful two people in union can do, especially as us as like even back to this whole vessel thing, right? God made man and woman. The whole point of him making our spirits in different types of bodies is for us to understand how us as spirits work, us as energy work. There's masculine energy, there's feminine energy. If you watch how a woman does certain things, there's a certain trait that she carries that equates to feminine energy. Instead of us seeing it as separate to us, we need to understand by looking at her, we can learn something about ourselves that we didn't know. Anything to do with creation, art, it's all feminine energy. All these rappers you see, it's all feminine energy. Even athletes, there's a certain level of like sports that is feminine energy when you're doing skills.
It's like the finesse. Right?
Yeah, that finesse. It's all feminine energy. The whole creation aspect is all feminine energy. If you're not keen to that, you're gonna miss it out when you're trying to develop yourself together. Now, when you're saying, would I rather have found the person now than later on? The reason I say now is because you can move so much faster now. Like what I'm trying to do, if I find the one now, I can move a lot quicker because there's certain things I don't have to worry about.
Right.
If I'm going to talk for myself personally, I'm a very touchy-feely person. So I'm cool on my own now, but there are moments, there's little blips, moments where I feel like, I just need a cuddle, I just need a touch. If, let's say, I had someone who was providing that, I'll be operating at a much higher frequency than I am now, just because those gaps, those blips are now filled. So I can still operate like almost steadily rather than having those dips.
Yeah.
Right? I agree with what you said. Like in my past relationship, I found myself a lot more productive, like in a way she unknowingly was pushing me to be a lot more just on top of my stuff.
Yeah.
And now that it's not there, it's not like I'm not productive, but it's a different type of you're on your own kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
You're having to gather your energy a lot hard. It's a lot more work.
Yeah, but I have found like while being single, it's like I have more time to just reflect on who I am and who I want to be and where I want to get.
100%.
Yeah.
And not that you can't do that in a relationship, but I've just been I found it a lot easier doing that right now.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of reflection too. So
100%.
Yeah, it's as you said, if you find the right one, not just any, you find any any babe and claiming she's gonna support you before you know it. Women are that powerful that they can make or break you.
Literally,
Right.
you talked about it on the last episode.
Yeah, they're
Straight
that
up.
powerful. They can make or break you. And if you give me the right one now, I'm locking her up.
Really,
Yeah, I'm looking her up. Because again, with that whole creation aspect, even if I'm able to access certain parts of my creative brain, having a woman there that, again, not just having a woman, you also have to play your part to make her feel like a woman. Otherwise, she'd just be exuding masculine energy, wasting your time.
Yeah.
So now having a woman there, she can even add to your creation. All of a sudden, that's double creation happening. You're doing a lot more. You're finding a lot more ideas just because, let's say you say, oh, I'm thinking about doing this, and then she said, oh, why don't you try it this way? Something you might not have thought of, or something that you might have thought of in a week's time, you thought of in that second, you implement it, and then you get going.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, there's definitely something. I think one thing I learned from my last relationship was, and obviously there's certain things that obviously you're taught, and there's certain things you just have to learn. Right? I think obviously being in a relationship, you do learn a lot of things, especially when afterwards you're reflecting a lot. Because like you said, when
too late.
That's facts. That's facts. Like when you're in the moment, it's like no, you're in the moment, but like when you have that time to actually sit down with yourself. I think one thing that I did learn was the play on the masculine and feminine energy. Right? And like he said, I think there's definitely something beautiful about it when you guys are on the same frequency, and you're in your masculine and she's in her feminine. You guys just mesh so well. Bro, you can work. You're flying, like you said. You're gone, bro. You're working at 110%. So I think that's something that I had to learn, being in obviously a serious situation, to now understand. Because I think before that I didn't really know, but like being in my masculine energy, and then her as a woman feeding off of me, and then being in her feminine energy, is definitely something that one of the big lessons that I took from it that I'm obviously gonna like use moving forward for sure. It's definitely very important. Because I feel like there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of girls that are in their masculine, and because a lot of guys are just
guys on playing. They're not playing their part.
Playing their part, yeah. In a sense,
they're too
worse,
they're too busy complaining about how masculine she is. How about you make her feel like a woman?
Yeah,
it's not that hard.
Yeah,
you know,
there's definitely something about it for sure. So, what about you? What's it like being the top guy?
I don't think I'm the top guy.
You know what I'm saying? You get a lot of attention from girls, too, right?
Not really, no. No.
Bro's capping.
See,
Bro's capping for the
this
pod.
guy on Instagram that's trying to crash my feed.
Some girl was asking me the other day. She's like, "Oh, so you must be getting a lot of girls in your DMs?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just doing me, bro. I'm not capping.
Cap.
No cap.
Stop
bro.
the cap.
No cap.
No, he was speaking of that R&B festival. As someone moved to me, I was outstanding. Firstly, it's the confidence, and secondly, it wasn't bad. You know, there's some girls that will move to you and it's like, yeah, relax, take a chill pill.
Yeah.
But she was quite smooth. Although it was a lot, but she was quite smooth. But it was too public, really. Way too public. I think she was drunk as well, so it wasn't a great. I just said, hey, take my Instagram, message me when you're sober. Pretty much. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, you missed out, right?
Yeah,
You missed out. It was that festival. Someone like the next day, Steve and I were at 117, and then we were just in the line, just going in. One guy was like, "Yo, were you the host at the festival?" I was like, "Yeah." For the way this guy was describing his experience, oh my god! Like, I wish I could encapsulate that energy and just sell it. But he was on the brink of tears. This guy was saying it was such a good event, and the thing is, like, how it all panned out. was so smooth. Obviously, the singers were amazing. The band was amazing. And I think what topped it off was like right at the end, it started raining. But now imagine this in an R&B environment. Oh, it was beautiful. Bro.
That's how he gets to do it.
Smooth.
It was beautiful, man. It felt like an old school R&B music
Like
video. Everyone was laughing, dancing, and like Keisha was asking me how was the festival like afterwards. She was busy because she was organizing, so her head was busy. So I was like the festival. It was so good. Like when I'm seeing everyone dancing, and I thought about if this was any other genre of music, people would either be like scurrying just to try and like find somewhere just to cover themselves or get an umbrella, because what R&B does to you, bro, it hits your heart in a different way. That's why I wasn't shocked when that guy was going off. He was just like, yo. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. I've never had that much fun before. I met so many new people. Bro, literally, I can't express to you how much I had fun. Bro, Steven there was smart. I said, bro, cry if you want to cry. Just remember to cry, bro. Nah, it was a good experience, man. It was a good experience. It was a very beautiful experience.
How many other girls walked up to you that night, or she was the only one?
She was the she was the only
Trying to put them on black.
It was just one.
No. Would you say you get more attention in person then if you don't get like girls on side of your DMs? Do you feel
Like,
like girls are
I feel like I
intimidated by
get
you?
looks, but
Do you feel like girls are intimidated by you?
I don't
like
think so. I'm a pretty like laid back
yeah,
guy.
but, like, they don't know that until they
Yeah.
probably
Maybe.
like probably off first impression. Like obviously
Maybe.
you're tall, you know what I'm saying? Like you're a good looking guy, like objectively. So like
Mhm.
like girls are intimidated. Like as far as I know, girls also have said that we talk about like the whole pretty boy thing, like oh, he's a pretty boy, like nah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously I feel like I don't think there's probably a smaller group of girls that would actually move to a guy as opposed to them expecting you to move to them, but
Mm-hmm. That's probably what it is. I think
Yeah.
they're probably just intimidated or shy, or expecting me to come up to them.
yeah. Like, cause the thing is,
doing that much,
you don't be,
bro.
yeah, you don't be. Me neither, bro. I don't do that.
They can come to me if anything. I'm not about the chase now. So.
Yeah, bro. I feel you, bro. I don't know. I don't think I've really ever been like that. Like in person, like I've never been that. Like there's some niggas that just shoot.
Mhm.
Like I've seen some
Yeah.
niggas that shoot at anything.
Yeah.
When I say anything,
It's not me,
anything.
bro.
Like, goddamn. Like, nigga, like, are you even looking at her? I'm sorry, but like, bro,
Honestly.
you feel me? But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been that guy that's just like, I've been like aggressively, like, even if I think a girl's good looking, I'm at the club and I see her, we make eye contact. There's a very low chance I'm actually gonna talk to her.
Yeah, I just like to give them the eye contact. That's
Oh, yeah?
That's it for me, though.
Yeah. That's what girls most times do. That they'll say like that's their signal. Like they
Yeah.
look at you for a certain amount of time, and then you have to go walk up to them. But even with that, like
It's too much work for me. I'm not trying to do all that. Especially at the club. Like,
yeah, I feel you, bro.
The club is the worst place to move
To move to a
go,
shorty,
bro.
yeah.
It's the worst because the thing is like when your voice is now low, I'm now having to shout. I can't be bothered. I really can't be bothered. But I learned a cool trick though. So if you put like I can't remember what this part of your ear is called. If you push it down,
Oh, I've
and
seen
you
you do that
talk.
before.
yeah.
I said, dude.
If you push it down, you talk. You can literally talk normally.
So that's why people do that on like the phone? Or...
I don't know about the phone,
I've
but
seen him do it in person.
Huh.
In conversation. So that's why you do it, huh? So you can throw that UK accent in there. Nice and funny. You feel me? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, bro. I don't know. I've never been a shooter, bro. Not like that. Like,
unless I think I'm never gonna see you again, I'll shoot. I'll say hello.
Once in a blue moon. Like,
yeah,
here and there, but
yeah.
I don't think it's something I'll do.
Like now, at least,
a
like just because I'm
routine.
just like a little bit older, I feel like it's just kind of going back to like being a little bit more selective and like not talking to as many girls and like getting like caught up in that. It's just like
Imagine being labeled as a guy that's like always. I don't know.
I don't want, nah.
Yeah.
Like, because the thing is, like, if you're always shooting, you're gonna be in a position where you're now at a place where there's some of the other girls that you shot at.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look, bro.
Anything. I see niggas shoot at every girl in the. I'm like, my nigga, chill.
It's not a good
Respect
look,
though, you know what I'm saying? Because some niggas, you know what I'm saying? You have to have a certain level of confidence to be doing that shit. That shit is crazy. But
No.
I got a question for you. So if you're not shooting, how do you like express your love to yourself then if you don't have someone in your life?
wow.
Same with you. Because for me, it's like this past year especially, I've really been focusing on like getting to know myself. Because I had this issue is whenever I had free time, I would avoid being alone by myself. I would text one of my friends or go out do something. And I felt like I made a lot of progress, and I still am. But that's one thing I've learned. Like I've been expressing my love by showing myself good quality time, not just like on my phone. Like for instance, like last night I got off work and I was like, okay, I'm not going on my phone except for music. Went on a nice walk. It was raining. I was out in the walk. Went barefoot in the grass. I was standing there. I felt a little crazy, but it felt good, man. It felt really good. And I went home and I was ready for bed, relaxed. And like the next day I woke up and I had a smile on my face. I was like, now I did that.
What music were you listening to?
I had some, I think it was 930, like on the walk. I think it was 936 frequency or something. Just like,
like the sound?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You see? This guy's connecting to the earth.
I was grounding. That was my first time doing it. I was listening to when I went to Colorado, I downloaded an audiobook and it was called, I think, Rooted. And the book was I haven't finished it, but it was talking about rooting yourself to the earth and walking barefoot. So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna try it, and I really enjoyed it. So I had to be careful not to be seen. I was like, I don't want to. I had dress shoes on too. I was in my work clothes. I was like, I hope no one sees me. It was dark out, and it felt really
another
good.
thing to do, like connecting to the earth, is also like when you wake up, like to go outside and look up. It reminds you how much space there is,
bro.
So you don't feel trapped, because a lot of people wake up and
phone.
You forget like this is your everyday stance. Even when you're on the laptop, this is your stance. Whereas if you wake up and you do this, you literally open your heart, open everything, and then you go about your day. That's another thing that I learned. I can't remember where there.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, bro, walks are really good.
Walks are good.
Walks literally. I think I mentioned before how therapeutic walking is. I think for me.
All right, guys, quick interruption. Make sure you go check out the audio as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to the audio. Make sure you follow us there and also rate. So 5 stars, please, 5 stars. That will help us actually get to be seen more. And also share it with your friends, family, whoever as well. But yeah, back to the show, guys.
As somebody that, like, obviously, and this is obviously a common thing, but a lot of people get anxious. Somebody that like thinks a lot to the point where my mind consumes me sometimes. One thing I noticed, and it wasn't like a what's the word? It wasn't like a conscious thing that I was trying to do, but I noticed the effect was, say I'm in my apartment most of the day doing stuff, and then I end up, when I do go to the gym, I usually walk because it's right across from my house. And I literally, every time, as soon as I walk out of my apartment and I'm outside, I literally breathe in fresh air. I'm like, I just calm down. Like, I'm just relaxed, and it just kind of grounds me. Kind of like what you said, you look up, you look out, you look around, you kind of realize you're not the only person on earth. Like, you're not in that, you don't feel, like you said, you don't feel trapped. You know what I mean? So, and
even to do with connecting with nature, we talk about the power of our mind. There's also the power of nature. We forget where we are part of nature
naturally. Yeah,
you know, we need to connect. Otherwise, we'll start to lose certain things. 100%. That's why you start to see all these supplements like vitamin D. You don't need, just literally step outside.
Go outside, yeah.
You know what I mean? Step outside. Try and be outside as much as possible. Yeah. Even now, there's a stat about like how much we don't exercise based on like just resting exercise. We don't walk enough. Just because everything is right here. Literally. We don't walk enough. We don't even like move enough. Yeah. You know? Dating myself, I think, is what I do to help myself love myself.
So what's a nice date that you take yourself on?
Anywhere I'll take a girl, I'll take myself. Good. That's literally it. Learning about, teaching yourself about how a woman works as well. Like reading books. about that, reading books about love, reading books that help you understand a woman, sometimes even helps you understand yourself based on that whole feminine energy as well. Once you're doing that, taking care of yourself as well,
like hygiene wise.
Yeah, hygiene wise, definitely, because bro, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel 100%. Good, you can do a lot more things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I saw this quote somewhere. It was like, date yourself before you date someone else.
100%. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't find any problem with solace, man. I've said this before. I've been alone for so long. I don't really care too much. That's why I'm happy single. Just because to love myself is not hard.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think you can love anyone else if you're not
with
who you are.
Because you're trying to fill their bucket of love with an empty bucket.
Yeah.
It doesn't you're filling air.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
And a lot of people are now very empty as well. So what are you now even filling into them? Even if you filled yourself, that's why it's important to pick the right person, because if you're not filling someone that is, let's say we're all meant to be working to be 80% or whatever. If she's at 20% or 0 and you've worked yourself to 100%, when you start filling her, brother, you're losing a lot for yourself. Whereas if she's at 80 and you're 100, you can top her up and be level. You know what I'm saying? And the same the other way around as well. We forget that even as we're treating ourselves, we also need to pick someone who is alike, who is on the same journey. Otherwise you're gonna be just odd, like working for no reason. Emotionally, psychologically, working for no reason. On top of the physical work that you have to do as well.
Yeah. I would definitely say for me, it's like within that isolation, actually, ironically, is just meditating and like reflecting, I think, is how I show love to myself. And then because I feel like that's something that I missed out for so long, and I think it's kind of ties into what he said about or kind of ties into what you said about like just being like distracted and being around people. I think there's definitely beauty and solace. You need to actually, there's so much shit going on in life, especially with like phones and social media, that you need to actually consciously make time for yourself now. Right. And I think another thing too is like taking my hygiene very seriously. Like actually taking the time to do, like, this was something that before I was like, oh, like skincare, like, but now like consciously taking care of my hair, consciously making sure my skin looks good. Like kind of like what he said, you look good, you feel good. You move with that swag and that confidence. So definitely taking care of my physical body. Even going to the gym, I think that's another way for me. It's very for me going to the gym is very therapeutic as well, and that's something that is now kind of like instilled within me, as opposed to before. I was just doing things a lot more consciously for myself. I feel like it's kind of like how I show myself love. And I wanted to ask you this, since we're on this topic about like like social media and like people and being distracted. So like, would you rather live with phones or without phones? Like right now, if you could remove phones, right? Would you rather live without phones or with phones?
No, without. Yeah.
I already knew you were gonna say that.
You say, what'd you say?
You said without.
Without?
Yeah.
I was literally thinking last year. I never did it, but I was telling my friend, I'm like, I wish, and I think I could, but I didn't do it because I'm like addicted to my phone, I guess. But, like going to school when you're in like grade 2 and like you didn't have any electronics and you had no idea what you're doing for the day. Like I was like, I miss that and I want to do that. So
yeah, man.
I didn't do it, but I'm gonna do it this coming school year. But
there's
it's nice. There's so much possibility and like business wise, like with phones, but it's really good just to tap out, because at the end of the day, like, for instance, I didn't go on my phone last night. And it's like, who's texting me that's that important? Like, nothing happened when in the morning.
Literally.
So it's like, you don't need it. So.
Literally. Exactly. And that's literally, like, I asked this for a reason, because the last few days I've kind of been, like, off socials. And, like, obviously, like you said, obviously with stuff like this, you have to be on social media. But I definitely do agree. I literally felt great not being on my phone, like not feeling obligated to talk to anyone, not and I'm just like when I wasn't on it, I'm like, what am I realistically like aside from like obviously this stuff, what am I realistically doing on it? Right, I'm checking other people's stories. Yeah. It's literally this cycle. Like I'm looking. I'm like, okay, what did I gain from doing that? Like,
yeah, I talk to myself. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
You just stop, bro. Like,
close the door.
That's what I'm saying. Put shit down.
Yeah, one post and like,
yeah, like, nigga, what was the point? You feel me? Like, what was really the point? So it's like, yeah, I think in terms of the question, I think there's obviously there's been, you know, living in this society in North America, there's obviously a lot of opportunity with, you know, social media and the internet and iPhones and all of that, but I think there's so much, it's just so sad. I feel like so much value and so many things have been lost in translation because of the accessibility we have, the access we have. Like, kind of like you said, this paradox too of choice and almost like too much. It's almost like you're overstimulated literally all the time. You can't appreciate the little things anymore. And now we have to, like, instead of it being a natural process, we have to like consciously get back to things that I feel like were normal before. You know, were natural to us before as humans. Yeah. So like I just feel like it's sad, and obviously I feel like as somebody that thinks so much, I really think about these things. I'm just like, there's so much stuff that's been lost. There's so much value that's been lost in terms of, you know, being a human being, human interactions, even when we're talking about dating, courting girls, everything. There's so much stuff that's been lost because of an iPhone. And even you know even
with that as well, because there's so much that's lost, and because, for example, us being conscious to that, you're now having to be reserved just because everyone else is crazy. When you now meet someone that's also conscious, because they're also reserved, it's almost like a standoff. You're not sure of that person. Like, an example of this, I went on a date and we were talking about this, and she was explaining that because I was just like, look, she said, oh, it's funny that we're on a second date because I literally only said I'll give you only one date. I said, well, I didn't really listen to that because I'm a good vibe. Unless you're crazy, I'm gonna ask you on a second date. And so now we're talking, and I'm explaining to her like the reason. So she asked like, so why did you ask me on a second date? I said, because like you seem like a good heart, like you have a good heart, and I feel safe here. Then she now explained that like because I'm saying that, it's almost as though I might like her too much. And then she was explaining it from a perspective of a lot of guys, when I tell them I'm not ready for it, I don't want a relationship, they're in their minds are just going a lot further than what I already told them. And then before you know it, they're trying to get in a relationship when I told them I'm not ready for a relationship. Right? So, and I explained to her, I said, look, there are a lot of guys that aren't listening, and for me, I listen also, because when I told her, she asked me the first time, what do you want? I said, I want a relationship. She said, I don't want a relationship. So I asked her, okay, cool. So if you don't want a relationship, what do you want? Right. She was like, I want marriage. Well, that's the same thing I do. Like, that's the same thing I want. Right. Now, what is the difference between a relationship and a marriage? Isn't a marriage a relationship?
I literally asked my dad that question last week. I'm like, or no, it was my aunt.
You have to twist the yeah.
It was my aunt. I'm like, do you think there's a point in getting married? And I just want to hear her opinion.
Yeah.
Like, so what's the difference between a relationship and marriage?
There isn't.
Apart from like the whole celebration,
the ceremony, the vows, and all that. The only difference is what we've created. So this is exactly what I told her. I said, look, like you wanting a marriage by the term and the words is no different from me wanting a relationship. When I say I want a relationship, I mean I want to be with someone for the rest of my life. That includes the dating process, and that includes when I then say you're my girlfriend. When I say you're my girlfriend, I mean you are someone that I'm about to introduce to my family before I propose to you, kind of thing. Yeah. It's not just you're my girlfriend for the time being. It's not temporary. So now explaining that to her, she started to understand what I meant, right? And then we go into this conversation of like, I was just like, look, when you first said I don't want a relationship, the reason I asked you on the second date was because I know exactly why you're saying that. It's because other guys have made you think that a relationship is what you need now, and that's what, like, them wanting you is the relationship. I was like, look, I don't see it that way. That's why, like, I'm still here. That's why I asked you on the second date, because we're both looking for the same thing. It's just, before I say I want you or I want to be in a relationship with you, I need to know who you are.
Right.
How am I meant to know who you are if I don't, like, see you in different environments? Like, we have to go on multiple dates, right?
I hope so. Like, no,
but,
for real. Like, you're not gonna. I hope people aren't out here dating after, like, meeting once.
But they are.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
They are. That's why we're in this position where we're getting mixed signals, or we're confused at what we're saying, because people are they're going into a whole marriage after just not really knowing the person, and then you're confused why you've now found out who the person is and you don't like the person.
Yeah.
You didn't bloody find out in the first place.
Yeah.
Now you're shocked, and now you're in a position where it's hard to back out. When I'm dating or courting you, it's easy to back out because I'm not holding myself to you.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm saying that for the purpose of not wanting to hold myself to you or be accountable for anything I do with you. It's just, I need to know who you are before I devote myself to you. You know, we've lost the art of devotion.
Yep.
We've lost the art of courting.
Bro.
Lost the art of dating.
It's
sad.
It's bro. You can see I don't even have the words.
Right, it's sad,
like,
man.
it's so messy, bro. It's so, like, bro, dating in 2023, and I mean, like, in the, like, obviously not like in a literal sense, like dating someone, like being in a relationship, but just even getting to know people. Like, bro, it's such a mess, man.
Bro, you guys I've been finding it okay.
He said
It's been that bad.
he must have a different experience. Sorry, it must be the shorties in our, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think we're just talking hypothetically. Well,
Yeah,
I can only speak for
I'm not
talking hypothetically because again, I found myself in a date where the person thinks alike just because I'm patient with my choice, right?
Yeah.
But if we're just looking at it from an outside perspective,
Yeah.
bro, it's a war zone.
100%. That's
Like,
what I mean.
It's
for
a war
instance,
zone.
like, when I saw you, like, was that a date or
Crazy.
when you're
Yeah, it was.
like, was that fine though? Like,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was.
So
When I saw you, when I saw you did
we
it.
saw each other.
Yeah. I didn't know you were gonna bring that up or not. But yeah, that was that was a
Like
date.
a deer in the head.
That was a date. But yeah, it's obviously, I think yo, why are you talking? But no, like, I think obviously, yeah, I'm obviously talking more in a general sense, and obviously, like, I'm obviously somebody that's, like, pretty observant, and, like, obviously I'm looking at my guys' experience, I'm seeing what's on social media, and I'm obviously not interacting with women, and I'm obviously seeing similarities between all these experiences. But I think obviously it goes into, like, now I'm at the age where, like I told you before, with something like this that I'm building and everything that I want in life, I'm a lot more picky with who I decide to actually spend my time with. I'm not over here talking to 10, 15 girls, texting all of them, trying to see all of them, like, trying to do all that crazy shit. I've moved past that stage in life, and I don't think that's gonna change. You know what I mean? So I think also being in that war zone forced me to actually be like, okay, I need to actually make a change. I need to be a lot more, I need to discern before actually choosing who I let in my space. You get what I'm saying? Because also, like, I'm, like Doxa said, my love is intense. You feel me? So, like, actually, like, I'm pretty, like when I do, like care about a girl, I can be intense, I feel like, as well. So I feel like knowing what kind of person I am when I do care about somebody, I'm not just gonna give that to anyone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a lot more picky now with who I choose to let in and
that's a good thing.
give that energy to. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but yeah, it's a war zone. Don't get it twisted.
Well, one thing that you say as well when it comes to, like, valuing yourself as guys, it's not just placing a price or a value on yourself. It's evaluating yourself and figuring out your value, as in, like, figuring out what you do that is worth something. So there are a lot of guys, for example, that hear this value yourself, king, and then all of a sudden they're placing a price on themselves that they're not even worth. Like, imagine, like, you're hearing all these self-motivating guys that are telling you on the internet, yo, value yourself, bro. You know, make sure like these girls don't trick you, blah 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 blah. Instead of you to look within and be like, okay, cool, what am I doing to even deserve a girl that's worth my time? You're just placing a high value on yourself without even recognizing whether or not you're worth a high value person. And that's all part of this war zone, right? So when I'm saying, look, my experiences are great. I haven't had like bad experiences, like crazy bad experiences with girls. It's just I'm aware it exists, and when I pair obviously my experiences, like the expression of my experiences on the pod, I pair it with the reality of situations, because the reality is it's a war zone. But in a war zone, what do? You make sure you wear your full armor, that you're good. You know, you don't go out there naked with a bow and arrow when they're shooting with heavy artillery.
Yeah.
You know, you have to prepare yourself.
Yeah.
So that's essentially like what I do when I'm expressing these opinions. Is I pair it both with people they don't really hear both. They'll choose which one to hear. Some people choose the part where I'm very soft. Some people choose the part where I'm almost like a cynic. Like, you're not understanding both. But then I've put both out. That's really all that matters, isn't it?
He said he's found it already. Would you say you're like pretty picky with who you choose to like?
Like who I'm gonna like date?
Yeah, no, not obviously, but I mean like even like just like say you're getting to know a girl and stuff. Like
yeah, I'd say so. Like, man, a lot of these girls, like, not to sound rude, but they kind of annoy me. Like, not like
the
like, there's nothing wrong with them. Well, like they're not bad people. It's just like they're not for me. And so I'm pretty picky when it comes to like the type of energy they're putting out. I look for people that are big into sharing experiences with me. And if someone's not down for that, then what's the point for me? I really don't resonate with people that aren't positive. And unfortunately, a lot of people like to, one bad thing happens and it's just a cascade effect of like, oh, blah 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 happened, so my day's ruined. And apart from that, like, as long as they're fun to be around and like I can talk to them and get to know them, I'm down with it. But I have to be attracted to them and just not annoy me, bro.
I know exactly what you mean.
I don't know how to explain it. It's just like small things.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
If someone makes her like
a certain remark,
a certain remark about like someone else in like a negative way, you're like, why? Like, for instance, I was out with someone and they made like a snarky remark to someone, and I'm like, it just said, I didn't say anything, but I'm just like, man, like, why? Like, there's
it's
no
little things.
It is the little things.
You have to the little things. I'm telling you,
it's also the little things that build you up as well.
100%.
Like, I don't need you to do something that's mad expressive. It's the little things that I watch and I'm like, oh damn, that's good.
In a positive way as well.
Or damn, I need to get out of this.
For sure.
You know, but a lot of people don't realize, because that's what we're even saying as well. Like, last episode we're describing the little things that we do as guys, consciously and unconscious, that we know helps a woman feel like good. Right. So I think one of the things I was saying is that when I'm dropping anyone home,
you wait till she goes.
I wait till they go inside. You know, it's very unconscious. It's very subtle, based on, if you're not really thinking too deep in it, I literally could just be on my phone looking for the maps. Like, it's not something that's crazy, but once you notice it, you will realize how much of an effect it has on how you see me now. Because now when I'm asking you, let's go this place, you don't really think about where we're going, because there's an element of safety that I've given you just from just doing that small action. You know?
Yeah, man. It's it's definitely, it's the little things, bro, both ways. I think as guys, like Doc has said, it's just we get caught up in we get caught up at looking at women as sex symbols, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, she's so fine. Oh my gosh, she has a fat ass. Like, you know, and you're blind to everything else, right? You can be on a date and this girl is literally like terrible personality, she has nothing to say. And you're like, it's fine. Like she's bad as fuck. Like, and you let her get away with all this shit, and then it's this effect that you don't even know what you're doing by allowing this behavior, because then, say for example, you guys stop talking, she's gonna move to the next guy with that same mentality, knowing that she can get away with all this bullshit. And it's just,
like, do you think a guy's responsible for telling these girls, like?
No, he's not responsible for telling them. He's responsible in knowing when to walk away.
Okay, like
that's the problem,
kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like you saying, a lot of niggas blinded by
Yash, bro.
Don't talk.
Bro, you're blinded by
Niggas are blinded by the cheeks, bro. You know what I mean? So it's
crazy.
It's just this spiral, bro. But yeah, I definitely do agree. Like, obviously, I've been on dates where, like, I'm just like, this girl has nothing to say, my nigga. Like, I'm just like, because like I told you before, like I'm a pretty quiet guy, but I have a lot to say, right? There's no way I would be on this platform if I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot. I have so much that goes on in my head, and like, kind of like, I was actually gonna ask you when you were talking about sharing experiences, if you meant in like the physical sense, or if you meant like in terms of like verbally, like communicating. But like, one thing for me is I love to hear. I need a woman to stimulate my mind, because I already think so much. I love to absorb information from others. I love to hear what you have to say. So if I'm on a date, this has happened before, I'm on a date and you're just like, well, I'm just like, my nigga, like, what am I doing here? Like, you have nothing. You have nothing to talk about. Like, it's unfortunate, but like, that's one thing for me. I'm just like, bro, like, if we can't have like a good conversation, I gotta go, man. Like, it's not gonna last. Like, you feel me? So that's that. I think that's a big thing for me. A shorty that just really has substance, man. You know?
Yeah, that whole having someone that stimulates the mind. Yeah. Like, for me, it's key when this whole star signs thing comes up. I can determine how much sense you have once you bring that up. There are certain girls that when they mention the star signs, and then I'll just ask, okay, cool, how does it work? I know exactly what, because I've heard it so many times. But I want to know what you're about to say. And then there's some that go into depth. Yeah. Like then I'm like, okay, cool. I can listen to this. Yeah. Even though I know what you're saying, the only reason I'm listening now is because I know you're in your educating mode. You're in your teaching mode, and that's what I'm attracted to. Yeah. When you start teaching,
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I'm here.
My favorite thing is just listening to girls talk to me, like,
especially about something they love,
something they love, or like sharing a story with me, and then they're passionate about it. I could sit there all day and just
I love me a goal-driven woman, man. Like, a girl that just like is telling you about her like dreams and like her aspirations, and she's just like, it's just, I feel like it's something that's within me as well. Just obviously growing up with African parents and like seeing where my mom is. Like, I've grown up around a very strong woman in my mother, who, you know, sacrificed so much. So it's like, when I'm sitting in front of a woman and she's telling me like, oh, she wants to be a doctor, or she wants to be a lawyer, or she wants to be an engineer, and she's telling you about all her plans, and it's actually, like you said, it's not, you're just saying it like all blasé, like you're actually like getting it 100%, and you can tell the difference. When someone's just bluffing and saying it, and someone that actually has a plan to get to where they want to get to. I love it, man. So man. But it's time for Sheree ass. No, nah, you already got some crazy shit, so I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be fine, bro. So the question of the day is, what's the cringiest thing you've done for a girl / a girl has like caused you to do?
Crazy in the good way or bad way?
Cringy.
Oh,
cringy / like crazy, I guess.
In the good or bad way?
Bad way.
In the bad way?
Yeah, bad way. I can go first.
Exposed.
Like, obviously, this was when I was younger. 2 days ago? No, this was when I was like 17. Like, there was this girl that like I really liked, but like low key, like she wasn't feeling me like that. Like so let me tell you this. Okay, so this is a story time, right? This is a story time. So she was fucking with this guy that I knew, right, at school, and then like they were dating, so they broke up. But I had like a huge crush on her. Bear in mind, this was in high school, so obviously they broke up. I moved to her. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was on my shit. Like, I would go to her locker, shit like that. Like, I would come and go see her. And, like, I thought she was feeling me or whatever. So like we were talking for a few weeks, and then what happened again? Like he came back, and obviously he was like he's the ex, so he had that pull. So he got her back, and like I was so hurt, bro. Like because like he wasn't treating her well. And obviously I was
That's the worst.
Yeah. And I was just seeing this shit, and like she went back to him, so like I was simping hard. Like I remember going on my phone. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. I remember going on my phone and like posting about it on my Snapchat. Like I was posting about it on my Snapchat stories. I was like, how could you do this? Like just L's. And she was and she like
she see this?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was just mad cringe, but it's all good.
You live and you learn.
Yeah, humble beginnings, like I said. Come a long way.
Honestly.
But yeah, I would say that.
Let me think. I've seen a lot of life, bro. I've seen a lot of life. As I said, I've only recently come into this form, this Sabian form. But it's pretty much the same thing. I remember a girl that I liked for 5 years of school.
Wow,
5 years.
It's a long time.
I liked this girl. Every time she called me like, let's hang out, I'm there. I'm there. And then one day I tried to do surprise. So the way our school worked was, so there's boarding, there's day boarding, and there's day peoples, right? She was the day people, I was a boarder. She was like day houses. Not everyone could get into the day house. Like you have to have your key cards and everything. So one day I said, let me just, cause I messaged her because I knew she was done sports and everything. So she was just about to go home. I messaged her, I'm coming to see you. She didn't reply. Well, me and my stupid self said, let me go. So I waited for someone to get into the day house so I can also get in. I got in. Then there was like what's it called? Like a rec room or something like that. So I knew she normally hangs out there. So I walked in. She was kissing another man.
Oh
What did
no.
you do?
Well, they didn't see me, so I just walked back out. Right. See, my heart was finished. Yeah, very painful.
Yeah.
very, very painful.
Humble beginnings.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. But after the 5 years, I got her.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Success story.
That's all that matters.
So you get what I'm saying? Yeah, success story, man.
Wow.
Why are you? Clean slate?
I was trying to think.
No chink in your armor?
A girlfriend I had back in the day, like way back. I remember we were fighting this one day, and I thought it'd be a good idea to surprise her with some flowers at her work. And so I go get the flowers.
Oh boy.
I drive to her work, and like I'm walking down with like the flowers in my hand, and her car's not there. So I'm like, huh. I'm like, whatever. So like I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna call her. She like denies like all my calls. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just like go to her house then and give the flowers to her. So I drive to her house, and then she's like, what are you doing at my house? And I was like, she wouldn't come outside either. So I was like, okay. And so I leave it on like her windshield of her car, and I think she just threw them out after. And I was like, damn. And I thought I was doing something nice, but it kind of hurt. Like, I was like, fuck. Like her parents definitely saw me like putting them there and like the note, but that made me feel pretty bad. I was whipped in that relationship though, so I was down bad.
Yeah. It'd be like that, bro. It'd be like that.
You live and you learn though.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's a tough lesson.
Yeah, it hurt.
That's algebra.
Humble beginnings, man. Humble beginnings.
But yeah, Sweetest Berry. My Sweetest Berry is one of the performers from the festival. Her name is Snacky. Some very meek, humble white girl with a voice of like, God, a voice of an angel, bro. Like when she started singing, like everyone, the energy in the whole place just rose. It was crazy. Her name is Snacky. Yeah, but
Sweetest Berry is Grimy World. One of my boys finally started his brand. He's been talking about it for like a year. He's very talented. He's very talented in terms of just designs. So shout out him. Grimy World is the Grimy World official on Instagram. So that's my Sweetest Berry. Yeah.
Yeah, Sweetest Berry is like literally anything that stood out to you. So if you have anything that stood out to you, you can shout out.
Just
Be it
recently,
music,
yeah.
book, whatever,
Hmm.
anything.
Throughout the week.
I'd say my boy Thevin. He's really turning up. He started his business, and I believed in him since he's been doing it. And the way he's spoken to me with such conviction, and to me, what he's been telling me, his numbers have been growing with what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
And I really think he's gonna. Well, I know he's gonna do whatever he wants to do in this world. So really proud of him.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's sick. Anyways, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah.
You got
Thanks for
anything you're
having
doing
me.
that you want to shout out?
Anything I'm doing?
Yeah. You're modeling. Do you have like a website where people can come and watch you?
You can check out my Instagram. It's Crowhera19.
Amen.
On YouTube, it's just my name, Cieran O'Hara with a C.
Oh yeah, your YouTube. Are you starting back?
Yeah,
Or-
I should be posting this week. Hopefully.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's sick.
Doing that.
That's sick.
You'll
Bro, we
see
didn't
me
even talk
around.
about the modeling shit. Like we got so caught up. I wanted to talk about that because
good.
like I wanted to like low key. I was thinking of getting into it.
Should
So
do it.
like I just wanted to ask like what's your experience in that field and like
Mhm.
how far of it. I think you have a lot of like I don't know if that's something that you're doing as like a pastime, but I think you have a lot of potential to like make it far. Like you literally look like a model. Like I've seen some of your shoots. They're fire. So like I just wanted to like ask you about it like in a general sense. Like
Yeah.
you know, were you being in the field and like what's it been like
Yeah.
for you?
So I'll start with like getting into it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so there's a bunch of places called agencies, and those are like you have your mother agencies, which is the first agency you join. To join them, either you get scouted by someone, or for me, people have been telling me they're like, "Oh, you should model more or model in general." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck it, sure." So I found I'm with Swish Models, so I went on their website and I uploaded some pictures. Like it's literally, I just took a camera, bam, bam, just standing straight. You send it in. You can send it into whatever. There's like Swish, Panache, I know in Winnipeg, but if you're really trying to go somewhere, I think you need to go international.
Yeah.
And once you get into the agency, they find you work. Everything goes through them, and they take a cut of, pretend you make $100. They'll take a certain cut of that, and you keep the rest.
Yep.
And they deal with all like the payments. And yeah, so where I want to go with it, I was thinking, was literally talking to my agent yesterday, and I was telling her, because I have a shoot coming up on Tuesday, and I'm like, you know what, I would really like to move first off, and where I move, I think what modeling would do could influence where I move, because I think it's a great source of money, and honestly, it's not too hard. Like, like honestly, like you show up, and all my experience, everyone's super nice. Like the photographers are chill, the other models you work with are good, and you put on clothes, you do what they tell you to do. Yeah, and you get paid very, very nicely. So that's the best part about it. But so going international, your agency can find you other places, or you can send out work or your past work to other places. So I know like the States is great, like New York, California,
100%.
London.
Yeah, fashion's huge.
Like Toronto's pretty good too,
Yeah.
Montreal.
Yeah.
So that's what I plan on doing. Because I like you said, I would like to see how far I can
How far
do.
you could, yeah, for sure.
And it's great for, especially business wise. I was thinking it's like, if I can build my social media up to 100,000, 1 million people, if I can't sell like 10,000 units of whatever it is to 100,000 people, or even 1,000 units, it's like, then I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah,
and I might as well
sure.
use the modeling as an opportunity
100%.
to help myself grow my business.
Yeah,
apart
for sure.
from the modeling,
For sure,
you know?
for sure.
But yeah, how come you want to get in modeling? You just
I mean, I look good.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, look, you feel me? Like, I don't know, man. Obviously, I don't think it's anything specific. I think it's definitely, it kind of ties into that. You feel me? Like, obviously, I'm very confident in my looks now. And obviously, I've been told that I should try it.
you should.
Yeah, and I think I could do it. I think I'm into fashion. I have a brand, obviously. It kind of just, I feel like it connects very well with what I'm doing, with everything that I'm doing right now in life.
Right.
The podcast, trying to grow my social media. I'm trying to do all that too. My fashion, just trying to build a platform for myself, which can now lead to so many other opportunities, endorsements, brand deals, modeling for literally fucking Boohoo Man, like shit like that. You know, Fashion Nova Men, same thing, right? So I think that's kind of why, like, I want to see where I can take it. You know, and I feel like if I look good, if I can make money from it,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? I might as
And
well.
it pays very well.
You feel me? Exactly. Like, look, if I was blessed to look all right, then shit, you feel me? I might as well get paid for it. So,
I was thinking, like some of like the difficulties I've had with it is, at first it's really awkward standing in front of the camera, because it's different. Like at least I find it easier with a photographer than versus a friend, because I'm trying to get more active on Instagram and like post more. But if you really want to practice and do well, I think it's all about getting your reps in, whether that's in the mirror or just putting your phone up and recording yourself and just practicing your poses, knowing what angles look best, and just being open to criticism, because sometimes you'll be told like, yo, this does not look good, and you just have to like okay, like you're getting paid. At the end of the day, you're getting paid, so you just got to be open to it. But
makes sense.
Are you thinking about getting into acting at any point? Because I know a lot of models that do it.
I haven't thought about that. I'd be open to it, but
because there are a lot of like model actors, presenters, or model actors, comedians, or model actors, hosts. There are a lot of those ones. Everyone's trying to do everything, man. There's multiple streams in it.
Yeah.
Now, anyway, this is Blacker the Berry.
Sweeter the juice.